So Indiana go down to a tough loss against the Phoenix Mercury. But on the bright side, Sophie Cunningham does come out with a new podcast and surprise, surprise, goes off on the officiating. I don't know what to say about the game last night. I kind of went into it feeling not super confident because the way that the Indiana Fever play against teams that shoot from the perimeter a lot is just not good. I mean, look at the way that the Fever play against the Valkyries. The Valkyries swept the Fever, and the Valkyries, they're not necessarily good at shooting threes from a high clip, but that's pretty much most of what they do. They chuck threes. And while they don't have a good percentage of making them, they still make the most threes in the entire league. However, as far as their 3-point percentage, they sit at number 9. So that just goes to show you, keep chucking the threes. Anyway, back to the Mercury game. The Mercury pretty much play 4 out, aside from Alyssa Thomas, who can't shoot a 3 because she has those torn labrums. But Alyssa Thomas in the paint is almost unstoppable. So Alyssa Thomas plus everybody else that shoots from the perimeter really give the Indiana Fever a hard time. I saw them kind of running around a lot, losing their man, resulting in the Mercury having a lot of open shots to make. And I gotta tell you, this game was not very fun to watch. I mean, the first quarter, the Indiana Fever started out in the first, few minutes of the quarter looking pretty good. They had a small lead over the Mercury, sparking a glimmer of hope for the game. But pretty much, as soon as the Mercury gained some momentum, it was always the Indiana Fever trying to play catch up. I have to give credit to Kelsey Mitchell because she came away with 29 points. I also have to give credit to Lexi Hull, who came away with 18 points. And what else were the stats? Kelsey Mitchell did also have 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. And Lexi Hull had 5 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and she did prevent a lot of shots from going in. But this by no means was Indiana Fever's best defensive game because they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off. With the ball movement the Mercury has, I just felt like a lot of times, especially people like Odyssey Sims, were just lost. Aaliyah Boston did have a lot of good assists where she came away with 7 assists. She also came away with 11 points, but this was definitely not Aaliyah Boston's best game. And I do tend to hold Aaliyah Boston to a bit of a higher standard because I know what she's capable of doing. And believe it or not, Bree Turner also deserves some flowers in this game for the defense she put up, and she actually scored 2 buckets. Ariel Powers, she's a pretty solid presence, but she made a few mistakes that I thought were kind of funny, like this travel that she did. And if we're going to go up against teams that have a lot of 3-point snipers, we have to kind of match that. And the only person that we have that can consistently make threes that is not injured is Kelsey Mitchell, because we went down Sophie Cunningham. That was probably one of the biggest losses for the Indiana Fever as of late. Of course, other than Caitlin Clark, because offensively, we don't have a really strong perimeter game. It's kind of crazy that we are probably getting into the playoffs the way that it is right now because Dantas, like her game has completely disappeared. Dantas is that like stretch 4 that we need, stretch 5 almost. Michaela Timpson, I actually, in this game, I would have definitely liked to see her step into the game because what do we have to lose? The only issue that I do have with Michaela Timpson getting in these games is that she does not stretch the floor and she does tend to clog the paint. And when she does get the ball, she has a little bit of a tunnel vision where she doesn't kick out. And that's the only slight advantage I see to Dantas being in instead of Michaela Timpson. However, last night, I would have definitely liked to see some Michaela Timpson minutes, and not for development because this is not the time of the season to start developing any sort of player, because this is the type of the season where everyone is hungry, everyone is bringing their A game, they are gearing up for that like playoff hungry, rabid push. But in this game in particular, the Mercury did actually beat us out with points in the paint with 42-38. So it could have been that Michaela Simpson could have helped in that area. And while the Mercury generally does make these threes at a high clip, they actually didn't make as many as the Indiana Fever made last night, thanks to Kelsey Mitchell. But they were definitely attempting to. And because the Indiana Fever were trying to kind of defend in a way that I feel like they were just kind of like all over the place, it did enable those perimeter defenders to get it into Alyssa Thomas in the paint. And Alyssa Thomas, her shooting last night was impeccable. She ended up coming away with 23 points and she shot 9 for 17. One of the only entertaining parts about this game, though, was when a timeout was called, and then Duana Bonner and Caitlin Clark had some words. It was right after a foul was called, and I believe it actually was a foul. Either way, Caitlin Clark went out there defending her teammates, shooing off Duana Bonner when Duana Bonner was finger twirling.
Then you see Caitlin Clark to the right behind the coach coming out and jawing at Duana Bonner. Duana Bonner says, yeah, it was a foul. And Clark is saying, no foul, no foul. Yes, it was a foul.
But again, props to Kelsey Mitchell for coming away with 29 points, not letting this be a blowout. She shot 11 for 20. And again, Lexi Hole also had a couple of really nice plays. Like right here, Rasatu's on her. She goes around, a little spin, pivot, a little fadeaway jumper. And I don't know, I feel like this is definitely the Indiana Fever's rival team. The admin is constantly taking shots at the Indiana Fever. And after the game, it did seem like Alyssa Thomas in the post-game interview took these kind of slights towards like Steph White and the coaching.
On both sides of the ball.
Huge advantage. I mean, like you said, we played, 2 years? Everything's pretty much the same. So defense, offense, we know everything they're about to do.
Damn, so she's basically saying Steph White doesn't change it up at all, and she knows everything they're about to do. They're super predictable, and whether or not this is true, that's definitely kind of like shots at your former coach. But that wasn't all she said. She talked about how the Indiana Fever are basically free throw merchants, which is kind of confusing. Like there maybe have been a couple games where they get some free throws, but like of all teams in the W to say that they get to the free throw line a lot, it's definitely not the Indiana Fever.
I mean, I said earlier, I mean, we know everything they're trying to run. So we just form a game plan around that. And yeah, we know they're a team that likes to get to the free throw line. And our goal is just to limit second chance opportunities and just contest it out loud.
They're a team that likes to get to the free throw line. I mean, who doesn't like to get to the free throw line, for one, but for two, again, of all the teams in the W, this team does not get to the free throw line as much as most other teams. We can just look at the free throw disparity in this game. The Fever got to the line 8 times compared to the 23 times that the Mercury got to the free throw line. And that is in majority due to Alyssa Thomas, who of all people that like to get to the free throw line, it's her. And man, Alyssa Thomas is just a hooper. Like some of the things she does are so impressive, especially the fact that she has 2 torn labrums and she can't really like put her arms above her head very well. So the fact that she scores so many points at such a high clip is very impressive. No matter what my personal thoughts about Alyssa Thomas are, it's undeniable that she is an amazing basketball player. However, she did not get a triple-double last night. She was 1 assist and 1 rebound away from a triple-double. She did come away with, again, those 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. So kudos to the Indiana Fever for not letting her get a triple-double. And Duana Bonner, second highest scorer on the team. She came away with 19 points. And the way that I look at Duana Bonner's game, it looks like she is that good because Alyssa Thomas just feeds her the ball. In this game, I saw her running up the court in ways that I never saw her running up the court with the Indiana Fever. It's kind of bizarre, actually. Like, I don't know where this game came from. Like, when she entered the Indiana Fever, I was really excited because I did watch her on the Connecticut Sun. I watched the high clip of 3-point shots that Duana Bonner is able to make. I was able to see like how well she rebounds. And when she got to the Indiana Fever, I was very surprised at just how much she was bricking, how slow she was, but that could also be in part to the fact that she probably didn't do much working out in the off season. And so she did mention how tired she was when she was running. So I don't think she gave the Indiana Fever a long enough time to get into shape. I mean, again, she only played 9 games with the Indiana Fever, but this version of DeWanna Bonner was not the version of DeWanna Bonner that was on the Indiana Fever. And, kind of like sucks to see because she essentially did quit on the team with a lot of people excited that she was on the team. Like, I remember Kelsey Mitchell saying, I have the best vet in the world in DeWanna Bonner. I remember Caitlin Clark saying, I really want to win a chip for DeWanna Bonner, knowing that she's in, like, the moonlight of her career. So it does feel like there are a lot of personal feelings when going up against Bonner, when going up against the Mercury, and wondering if Alyssa Thomas was who possibly was whispering into DeWanna Bonner's ear to bring her over to the Mercury. But again, this is all speculation. So let's just get back to the game. So when you do look at 3-point percentages, the Indiana Fever shot at 36%, while the Mercury did shoot at 28%. So generally, the Mercury shoot at a higher 3-point percentage. And oddly, the Indiana Fever out-rebounded the Mercury. They edged out the Mercury with moving the ball around with 25 assists to 24 assists. They had 1 steal less than the Mercury. They had 2 more turnovers than the Mercury. However, they conceded 5 more points of these turnovers. So the game wasn't a blowout. They only lost by 6 points. I gotta say, while the momentum definitely felt in the Mercury's side for most of the game, this game was lost at the free throw line, and they edged them out in points in the paint by 3 points. So there were really minor things that lost this game. And with the Valkyries absolutely spanking the Liberty last night, like, I don't know what is going on with the Liberty. But that does not bode well for the seeding for the Indiana Fever because we need the Valkyries to be losing so we don't end up in that number 8 seed and have to go up against the Minnesota Lynx first, because the Minnesota Lynx are the absolute dominant team of the entire league. Again, it's the Minnesota Lynx, big space than everybody else. But I don't know, the Valkyries lately, they have really been coming into their own. Natalie Nakase has done wonders with this team. I mean, she has so much faith in all these sixth men. She has so much faith in her young players. There was something that she said in the post-game interview about Carla Late when Carla Late had a one or a couple turnovers, and she was just like, I don't care that you have turnovers. I'm going to still put you back out there. And the way that the crowd show up at Valhalla really, really, really does put a lot of confidence in the Valkyries team. The coach has a lot of confidence in the Valkyries team. And I don't think anybody would have been able to predict what this expansion team was able to do this season. It makes me wonder if Breanna Stewart's going to make all W this season, because it's kind of like a default that Breanna Stewart does make all W every season, but I don't think she's played enough games, and I think she's been outplayed by a lot of different players, one of them being Kelsey Mitchell. I think if Kelsey Mitchell does not make all W this season, that's an absolute travesty. She has like inched her way into MVP conversations, while I don't necessarily think that Kelsey Mitchell fully deserves MVP this year. A nod at MVP is definitely something that I think has been under the radar for Kelsey Mitchell. She has been absolutely like carrying the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark. I mean, even Sophie Cunningham on her podcast yesterday had to bring that up.
Kelsey Mitchell should be MVP. She is playing the best basketball anyone has played all year. She's been playing the best basketball of her career. She's a phenomenal player. Nobody can stop her. Literally, Wes, when I tell you, no one can stop her. It doesn't matter who you have on her, any defensive scheme. She's still scoring 30 on your head. Like, it's insane.
Oh.
Love playing with her. True. But she had the ball at the top of the key, and right in front of a ref, Kelsey Plum literally grabbed her arm and like kind of flung her around, and Kelsey like spun. Like, how are you not calling that? You're protecting all the other stars in the league. Why would you not protect Kelsey? Like that. It's just like stuff like that that just really grinds my gears. And then
that's your fine right there, Sophie.
Wait, what did I say?
You just said you're protecting all the other stars. How are you not protecting Kels.
I didn't even think that was bad.
I don't know why Wes had to be like a hall monitor and like call out like that she was going to get a fine there. Like that could have gone under the radar if Wes may not have called it out. Now, while I do think that a nod to MVP is definitely fair for Kelsey Mitchell, I don't necessarily think she should be the MVP as much as I adore Kelsey Mitchell. However, what she said about nobody being able to stop Kelsey Mitchell is very true. There have been WNBA players who have been asked, like, who do you not want to go up against? And a lot of them say Kelsey Mitchell because she just has the speed to like burn by anybody. She can self-create, and her consistency in dropping nearly 30 points in so many games is absolutely a testament to how good she is. There are the occasional games though where, she's not on it. And in those games, she still comes away with like 11 points, 13 points. And those are double-digit games. But it's always good to see someone like Sophie Cunningham just standing up for her teammates. Okay, so the Indiana Fever do have a few more games left to figure out where they will land in the seedings. They play the Mystics, they play the Sky, and they play the Lynx. Now, the Lynx, I think a lot of people think that since it's the last game of the season that the Lynx will go kind of easy because they want to rest up for the playoffs. The only hesitation that I have to that argument is that Napheesa Collier, however it goes between the Minnesota Lynx and the Aces, if the Aces beat the Minnesota Lynx, Napheesa Collier is going to want to go hard for that MVP. Although if the Lynx do lose to the Aces in that game, I think that pretty much sets who might be MVP for the season. In any case, that's the only way that I can see the Lynx going hard on the Fever, and that is the last game of the season for both of them. They also go up against the Mystics, and I do see the Mystics as a team that the Fever can beat. Although the Mystics have beat the Fever in the past, I just kind of think that they're at the point in the season where they might not be giving it their all. So I do see this as a game that the Fever can take, and I also see the Sky as a game that the Fever can take. Now, the Sky really might want to beat the Fever because they don't want to get swept by the Fever, so that's one that I won't absolutely count as a scheduled win. But we definitely want to be keeping an eye on the Valkyries. Their strength of schedule isn't very easy. They have a few more games to play. We want to keep an eye out on the Sparks, who are pretty much counted out, but not fully counted out yet. They're going to be on our tails to make that seeding. So we shall see.